Good morning. Good morning. Woo! We always like some really nice, energetic music in the morning. Good morning to our viewers and our listeners. Welcome to Coffee Time with Marie Torossian, CPA. If you are a returning a viewer or listener, welcome back. We love having you here. If you are new to us, please give it a thumbs up or a hands up down in the chat so we know you are new and we welcome you with open arms. I am your host, Marie Torossian. I'm a CFO and auditor, a certified public accountant, and a chartered global management accountant. I use my proprietary methodology, Valuation MT, to help business owners that reach their first million to 10x their business net profits. I'm also a Grant Cardone licensee, and I'm qualified to teach his materials in sales, marketing, mindset, and finance. So we have coaching plans to help you out with that. I'm also an author, and I've written 2 books, The Complete Guide to Business Growth, which is available on Kindle, and The Business Owner's Guide to Operational Accounting. Both books are available on my sister company, www.theprofitlab.biz/shop. I want to make sure to update everyone that I have a webinar coming up tomorrow, Friday, June 24 at 12 o'clock Eastern time, so basically noontime during your lunch. You can make it a power lunch, a learning lunch. So I'm going to put the link below in the chat. So with that, I also want to welcome my friend and my weekly guest, Pedro Gonzalez, CPA. How are you, Pedro?
Good morning. Yes, I'm doing very well. How about yourself and everybody? Hopefully everybody's having a good morning. And here we are. I mean, another week.
Yep, it's another week, and it's going to be another interesting conversation. We know a lot going on out in the world. But before we get into the main subject of what we want to discuss today, just wanted to bring everybody a quick summary of what we've been talking about in the past 37 episodes. Can you believe we're at 38 today?
I know.
37 episodes. We love helping self-employed individuals and the solopreneurs. So we have so much material we've covered in October, November, December, and all the way through. We've talked about, a lot of partnership agreements. We've talked about tax planning. We've talked about IRS and financial audits and what the differences are. We've had a few actually special guests. One of them spoke about, mortgage, how to apply for a mortgage if you're self-employed. And a couple of weeks ago, we actually had an immigration attorney that helps investors specifically, not just regular immigration, even though they handle that. Douglas talked to us about what it is to be, to come into the U.S. as an investor and what are the certain things that are required. One of them being a business plan and projections. So with a lot of things happening right now around us and, the talk about recession coming as early as next week, it's July. So we wanted to keep you abreast of what you can do right now in your business to make sure you are staying in control and you know what is happening and how to respond to that recession, right? So, Pedro, you are my guest. So I always let you kind of take over first. So, let's talk about what's going on right now with all the recession talk and then let's kind of talk about what is a business plan so we can start the conversation there.
Like we were talking, and you and I have talked about this situation of the economy, you know what I mean? And you hear all these kind of necessarily the bad news that we hear about. So I figure, why not talk about something a little more positive? And
Sure.
that is how we can make our businesses recession proof, you know what I mean? And with realistic kind of tips of how we can help our business clients. We are not just here to as accountants or tax preparer. Like we hear constantly that we are business and tax strategists. And with that now, I thought it's a great opportunity to discuss then what can we do about the current situation. I think preparing for a recession definitely is will help the process to be less bumpy.
Sure.
And if it's done well, a recession plan will prepare a business not just to survive, but also to thrive during the recession, and then preparing the business when the when the economy will recover, and then the business be even in a better position.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then,
Yeah.
of course, a business plan is the same as kind of, strategic planning. Usually, the business plan, most people know it as like when you're just starting your business, you create a business plan. But, guys, this is also the same steps you would follow if you are trying to strategically plan for your business growth, for your business scaling. You always want to go back and look at what you did for the beginning, but then how do you change with the times, with the economic conditions, and you just update and create new strategies. So that's your basic business plan, and then you kind of use it to update continuously. What are your thoughts, Pedro?
No, definitely. The time, and you and I have discussed this in previous podcasts, is that
Mm-hmm.
in moments like this, the retreating is not the answer. Now is the time for planning. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And so having a good financial business plan is key, and especially in now more than ever. Yeah, I mean, I think
Right.
it's in moments like this that businesses will start realizing how important this is. All of these things that we've been talking about any, from even the bookkeeping. You know what I mean? How
Right.
critical it becomes now. Um, and so I wanted to mention a couple points that I wanted to share. I don't know if you want me to discuss it now, or you have it at a different point that
Sure. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah.
I'll chime in when at any point.
This is, and that you and I enjoy this process of helping our clients and
Yeah.
helping them grow. You know what I mean? Not like I said, going beyond of the typical basic services. But
Yes.
when I see the situation that's happening now, I see the pain in many business owners. You know what I mean? And there is a solution.
Yes.
Uh, and so here's a few tips I can give you. I'm going to give you five that I think will help most of the business owners in achieving and overcoming some of the situations they have right now.
Mm-hmm.
Number one is, we discussed in a previous podcast, and that is the mindset. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think investing in yourself is one of the best investments you can make right now. It's
Mm-hmm.
investing in your mindset, communication skills, depending on each of our where we at the different stages in our lives. If you're an introvert, you got to find ways of how do I communicate. We're all salespeople, so we have to learn how to send the message properly and effectively.
Yes.
The other thing I can advise somebody right now is to cash flow planning. In addition to the overall
Absolutely.
business planning, cash flow. You hear me talking cash flow, cash flow, cash flow, because it's the lifeblood. You know what I mean, of any business, regardless of the industry and your size. You if you run out of cash, you basically it's over. You know what I mean. You have to constantly be looking, making sure that cash flow, that lifeblood, continues to be pumped into the heart of the business. So, you got to start by handling where you at this moment with
Mm-hmm.
respect to, of the cash flow. When you look at the business planning, you're looking at the overall company, but when you look at the
Right.
cash flow, where are you at this moment in with respect to your cash flow? Where does the money come from, and where's it going?
You're gonna go. Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, then the other thing is to looking at liquidity options. Looking at the liquidity options right now before it becomes critical. It is said, it is easier to borrow when you don't need it than when you need it. You know what I mean? So
True.
waiting until basically your business is in a dire straight situation, it could be at the end of the business. So looking at now when you still have options, investigating potential capital sources, loans, revolving lines of credit, owner infusion, alternative financing, private equity, looking at government resources. So,
Right.
not limited to the SBA, but there's different ways that you can raise some liquidity in
Contracts
your
and other
business.
things. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Uh, I will also add to that number three is to know your numbers. Again, you and I have been mentioning this many times in different ways, but it's knowing your numbers. Not only having bookkeeping, I see many business owners invest in bookkeeping, but unfortunately, they really do not know their numbers.
Yeah.
So you need to understand what is happening not only with your cash flow, but also what is happening as far as profit margins, inventory, what is happening with your monthly
Mm-hmm.
sales. So because all of that is affecting how your business is operating.
Absolutely.
So having a good handle on that, at least, having people around you that can help you gain and at least in a summarized way,
Sure.
but you need to, as an owner, you need to have at least an understanding. Okay, so where do I stand on my financials? Uh,
Right. Right.
Number four, I would say to invest in your business. Again, I know this is counterintuitive. I think a lot of people think, well, it's recession, so let me retreat, let me start hoarding the cash that I have. But I think that is in the end, the no action is going to end up killing that business. So I think is now's the time to invest. I
Absolutely.
think when I say this, I would say it strategically. You know what I mean? Not to throw
Yes.
money and haphazardly and see what sticks. I'm saying is that
Yes.
to have, and that goes back to what you're saying about the business planning. Because when you have that plan, then I know now where we're gonna go with the resources that I have, where I'm gonna deploy it.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
having a very good, investing now in your business is critical. I would say do not stop marketing and advertising. Again, a
I
lot of
was
people
just
think because if you disappear during the recession, uh,
you're
I might
forgotten.
think you're dead. So
You're dead.
exactly. So I need to tell people, yeah, even this that you and I are doing right now, we need to let
Yeah.
people know we're here.
Yes.
Even during the recession, we are here. We're here to help you. If you disappear during the recession, you got to think about it. If you disappear during the recession, and somebody else out there will take your place. Somebody out there
Absolutely.
is investing right now and is making him or herself known that I'm here to provide you a solution for your pain. Now,
Right.
guess who is going to be, after the economy recovers, who is more likely to be remembered?
Right.
Who should I call? Is it going to be Marie, the one that was there during the recession, providing me webinars, providing me phone calls, providing me? Or is it going to be Joseph or whomever, Joe, that all of a sudden he disappeared? Where's
Right.
Joe? We don't know. So investing in your business is important. And then number five is to take action. I think
Yes.
no action, it will be detrimental for your business. More harm is caused by indecision and no action than by taking action, and sometimes even the wrong action. It's better to take
Right.
action and get the momentum than simply sitting and staying still.
Right, absolutely. I'm so with you, and I think back, during when the pandemic first hit, and I had just started my firm, at the time, and one of the things that I did was like literally, I probably invested over 25, $30,000 in professional development in areas that I realized I did not know what to do. So that helped me get to a point where I can do all of this, provide all this information from my knowledge, from my learnings, and implementing into my business. So I totally get exactly what you're saying. It happens to us, and that's really why we're sharing with you guys, is that we want you to learn from what we've learned ourselves as well. So putting never stop marketing. Your leads should never stop. It should constantly have flow of the more leads come your way, the better. Don't ever stop the marketing and advertising at all. And then, of course, you can use other options of, like, let's say you might have a show or a podcast that you can try to promote yourself there. Don't stop, don't disappear, out of sight, out of mind, like they say, right? You don't want your business to be out of sight, out of mind, because someone else is going to be in there. And then, even if you are a better person, the right person, if they forgot about you, your business went to someone probably and that's knowledgeable. So you don't want that. Definitely, continue investing in marketing and promotions, and of course, and look at your numbers. Based on what you're selling, you might want to consider in your strategic plan. Okay, if the recession goes this, what are people going to need? Is my product or my service something that they're still going to need during the recession? So absolutely. So that's where you want to start. This is where you start thinking more strategically. What do I need to do to make sure my business survives, and not only survives but also thrives during the recession? And this is hard to do because we're always set to respond to fear with shrinking in, and this is like asking you to do exact opposite.
The
So
opposite.
if you're an entrepreneur, which means you are a risk taker, you want to take the risk of the benefits and the rewards. So there you go. This is what you have to do.
Correct. Correct. No, you're right. You mentioned there the entrepreneur. I know a lot of us call ourselves entrepreneurs, but entrepreneur, when you look at the definition, it is risking capital. And it's
Yeah.
that willingness that I'm willing to risk capital in my venture to make it, to succeed. So it's not an easy road. You and I have talked about this about the entrepreneurship. It is not an easy road. It's not a straight line. And
Not at
this type
all.
of recession is cyclical. It's going to continue happening. And if it's not the recession, something else will challenge your business. And you have to constantly be, you cannot sit still. I'm telling you, even do you think companies like Microsoft and, these large corporations are sitting still? I think we achieved $1 billion sales or whatever. And no, they're constantly evolving, constantly. They never stop. Yeah, I
Right.
mean, even when they're
Exactly.
number one, whatever in their
You don't
industry,
take a break.
whatever, they're still finding ways to how can I be faster? How can I increase my sale? They're constantly, you got to do the same.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then I do want to remind everyone, because as you mentioned that, remember those who became the number one in their industry, they didn't go by saving money. They went with, investing their money in the right places. So if you want to save in one end because you realize there's no return on investment there, take that money from there and
Correct.
put it where it's going to be an investment and it's going to have a bigger ROI. That's how you move it around. Second thing I wanted to, you know, pinpoint is that those that went all big, they didn't do it by doing it themselves. They hired the right people to help them get there, including a complete accounting team, a financial analysis, analysis team, and they have bigger teams like that. They start with maybe one or two, and then they grow. And then for those companies, if you try to go into their accounting department or accounting and finance, that you could have 15, 20 people. So as an entrepreneur starting out, and I know it just, most people be like, well, I can't do it. I'm going to do it myself to save money. That's not really the right way to
Yeah,
grow and scale. That's not how Microsoft grew and scaled itself. That's not how Facebook got that big.
correct.
So you have to invest in the right things.
Exactly. And that's a key word there, Marie, is investing in, strategically in the right place. Yeah, I mean, it's not, right now, if you were to Google, recession-proof tips or whatever,
Yes.
you're gonna see a lot is cut back. And so I understand what they're saying. Yes, I mean, I'm not telling you not to cut, but be careful where. Is that again the planning? Where
Yeah.
do I reposition myself? Like you said,
Right.
is exactly what we need to be doing, and that is, you have to know your numbers. Meaning that
Hmm.
if I'm going to invest in a certain marketing campaign, is it
Right.
achieving the results? If not, I have to reposition. I'm not retreating. I'm just simply repositioning into
Right.
another area to increase my sales. But holding back, retreating, or simply throwing money just to see what sticks is not prudent, and that's not what's going to help you, especially not in these times.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. So I wanted to kind of maybe give specific steps that they can take. And we talked about 5 tips to do. And then how about we kind of give everyone a very high level 5 steps, because they can come to my webinar tomorrow and get more details. But
Mhm.
a few steps that they could follow to start the process of this strategic planning. you know so I would say, and you can jump in anytime, Pedro, is that
Okay.
start by running your financials. Go back to the past 18 months, see how you've been performing. And this is very high level, very general.
Yeah.
See how you're performing and see where there could be opportunities. What are your thoughts there, Pedro?
No, I agree. I mean, I think when we're looking at the financial health of your company, it's taking that snapshot. I mean, you need to know where you're
Mhm.
at this moment.
Yeah.
And when you go into a doctor, I mean, they first start doing all those labs and all that. Let's just see. Okay, let's see where you're at. Now we
Right.
can prescribe. I mean, now I
Mhm.
can tell you not only what the potential areas of risk, but now I can tell you how to solve it. So yes, I mean, the first thing should be that. I mean, having solid financials, and again, I will say it again, having a solid, solid accounting. That
Yes.
why I keep mentioning the bookkeeping, the accounting is because now for us to be able to help you, either be tax planning, business planning,
Yeah.
that's a foundation. I mean, so you're gonna start with solid financials. Okay, so now let's do a snapshot, like you said, 18 months to look back. Okay, now I can see potential leakage, where your money's going. I can tell you, look at, here's the tendency, here's the trend, especially pre-COVID, during
Right.
COVID, and after COVID. Now we have enough data now that we
Right.
can look at your business and quickly see what has happened to your business, and then from here, let's see what we can do to change.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's once they have this trend, kind of they can see the lines and the, how things are performing the past 18 to 24 months. And then you can narrow it down to, let's say, okay, let's work on, our inventory. I mean, if you're selling
Yeah.
items, products. So let's look at our inventory. What do we have? What do we need to buy? How much can we sell it for to either sustain our sales during their session or be able to do something else that could actually increase our sales during the recession. So these are the more strategic, thinking to make sure that you are planning correctly. Any thoughts there, Pedro, that you want to share?
Well, yeah, I agree. I mean, the now looking into a topic like you mentioned, inventory. Inventory is can end up being a black hole for cash flow. You know
Yes.
what I mean? If
Yes.
not handled properly, inventory can end up being a could end up being a great asset if it's managed properly. You know, an asset class that where I can turn my inventory quickly. And I'm
Hmm.
not going to get into the specifics of it, but it can end also
Right.
being a black hole because you can capture. Let's say, for example, right now you got a discounted inventory, but if it sits in my warehouse too long, it's cash that is sitting on now
Right.
a physical asset that I need to liquidate. So
Right.
having this type of management with inventory is critical. I mean, is if your business is handles inventory, you have to have very good, clear understanding about your movement of the inventory, which items are moving, which are not moving. So I
Hmm.
don't go back. And I know we're entering to more. At least I'm entering to something more specific. But in general, inventory
Right.
management
Right.
is key.
It is definitely key for those who have products that they sell. And I'm not saying they just are the middleman. They're just like transferring you know, like
Yeah,
those who actually have a warehouse, they're actually running their own inventory. That's the example we're giving here.
yeah,
So then a lot of other areas then we look at is to, the expenses and anything, let's say first related to the actual sale of the product or the service, which we call it more like cost of goods sold, cost of labor. Where are those costs? What would it happen in the next 18 months during the recession? Those are the things that we'll think through as well. Because, for example, of the, extent, continuing on the inventory a little bit,
yeah.
if you were purchasing an item for, let's say, 50 cents, and your anticipation is that now it's going to be $1 by the time it gets to you during the recession, then how do you need to react to that?
Mhm.
What you need to plan ahead. So it's not like you're reacting, oh my God, I'm not making money. It's more like, okay, I anticipate the cost to be this. So that means I need to bring my price to this to
Right.
at least maintain my gross profit, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So
Yep.
that's something you want to think about while you're doing the plan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. No, you're right, and I'm sure you're gonna get into more details tomorrow. But
Mhm.
that's why again in critical going back to investing in yourself in your business. I hope people that are listening here that will be joining you in this webinar tomorrow because they're gonna gain more information that we can accomplish in the 30-minute conversation we're having here.
Yes.
But knowing your numbers. I mean, knowing the how, for example, continuing on the line of the inventory. Also understanding how the pricing. Now it's still connected to the inventory, but the pricing strategy, like
Right.
you're mentioning, how you properly price. And unfortunately, a lot of people have no idea. Yeah, I mean, they're buying items, and I have had conversation with people that have been in business for a while. And how are you setting your price? And you'll be surprised the answers that you get. You know what I mean? How they're pricing their items. They come up with a rule of thumb of a percentage over cost, randomly. They don't have a real strategy, or simply, well, my competitor sells it for $1, so I sell it for 90 cents.
Right. Right.
But why? You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
the item costs you 85 cents, you probably don't have
You're not
enough to.
making money.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, yeah, you're moving the inventory because you're trying to, undercut your competition, but your pricing is killing you.
Right.
And then goes back to what you and I have talked many times, that why the marketing is so important. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Maybe you should sell it at $1.10, not at
Right.
$1. but you have a reason. The marketing can help you. Then the advertising and the marketing. Why?
Yes.
The value of your
The
item versus
value of your product. Why is it higher than the competitor? Why is it better than your competitors?
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So those are all part of the strategies that you have to think through as you're planning going through the recession that is being anticipated. And of course, the rest of the operating expenses, those are, between marketing, advertising, we talked about, don't cut that, just invest in the right type of marketing. And then, there could be other things that say simply, just something that comes to mind is like, let's say you have an office space that you're renting, but at the same time, I mean, you may not need it for during the recession. Or that could be something you might want to, renegotiate or manage because you may not need that expense during that time because, right now a lot of us can work from home, but depends on your business, right? And it could be any other things that say, I don't know, telephone, all these things. Just
Yeah,
look at it.
exactly.
You can
Yeah.
renegotiate any of these things to make sure that you are either you're not going to get hit with something bad, or you just, if you don't need it, you're not using subscriptions that you don't use in your business, softwares that you subscribe but you never really use anymore.
Correct.
Pay attention to that. That's money leaking out. That's, you're not paying attention because you're not using and you're too busy doing something else. But you want to be able to pay attention to those things. And that's why digging into the details of every single line item, this is what we do. This is what we get excited about.
Yeah. I know. But it does pay off, Marie. When you get high. Well, I know somebody over there is rolling their eyes and thinking, "Oh, look at these two talking about numbers." But no, but the reason is that it does pay off. I mean, the hiring somebody with your expertise and my expertise that go through the financials, you find leakage. And what happens is like you said. I mean, you subscribe to something, and then you're paying it. You have a lease, and you think I'm under contract. I mean, so without realizing that can be renegotiated.
Right. Yes. And a lot of certain softwares and stuff like that these days, it's like a month-to-month thing. So you can cancel it anytime. So if you're not using, you can cancel. You can pause it. Sometimes it's a membership. I've done it. There's certain memberships that I've been part of that recently I had to pause because I have so many other things happening. I can attend events. I'm not spending time in that specific area. I just asked, hey, can you just pause it for just, I don't know, 4 or 5 months and I'll be back. It's just normal, right? Like it's just certain things that you're not using. You should not have to pay for it. So if you can pause it or cancel it for the time being, you can do that as you're prepping to reinvest your funds to something more important.
Well, I agree. I mean, the dollars that you have has to generate further revenue. I mean, increasing your revenues. So you have to deploy it in the places where it's going to help you grow your business. That's the whole point. Otherwise, why are we in business? I mean, it's not just a hobby. It's that you're taking those dollars and, like you said, I'm gonna reposition those dollars, and I'm gonna, now that I've been paying this subscription, like you said, I'm gonna pause this one, but I'm gonna take those dollars and maybe put it into this other area. It could be I'm gonna invest it on myself now in another way. I'm gonna take some training, either be in communication. It could be in sales skills or something like that. I mean, something that can help me convert those dollars, the same dollars, but I'm going to convert it now into increased
something else. Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, so those of you, I mean, who would like to join us for the webinar tomorrow, like I said, June 24 at 12 o'clock Eastern time. So basically during your lunch, you can have an hour of information that's going to be so valuable to you and your business. So to sign up, you can go to www.theprofitlab.biz and then go to the events page, and you'll see all the different webinars that we're going to be doing starting. We've been doing a few already. So there's one on Friday, and there's going to be another one on Tuesday. So you can sign up over there. So any other last thoughts, Pedro, before we let our business owners go back and implement all these strategies?
Exactly. My last word: sign up. Sign up for the webinar, or else.
Thank you for that. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Okay, guys. So we end the show always with A quote from the motivational speaker, Jim Rohn: "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." I hope we are 2 of the 5 people that you're spending your time with to grow your business. So, with that, until the next week's episode, episode 39, don't miss it. Have a great and blessed rest of your week.
Take care.